morning, third grade. Today I wanted to talk to you about the math lesson that you're going to be doing today and tomorrow. And the math lesson is remainders as fractions. So I want to read with you the introduction up here and then do some sample problems with you down below, just to make sure, first of all, that you are understanding how to actually divide and doing the steps properly with the division problem, and then also that you fully understand what it means to write the remainder as a divisor. So to start off with, we need to just do the division. And our first step in division is to divide. So we're going to take 37 and divide it by 5. And we start by asking ourselves, with this 3, how many groups of 5 can I get if I have 3 objects? And when you ask yourself that, you can go, oh, well, the answer would be 0. And your page probably has a 3 up here, but it should be a 0. 0 groups of 5 when we only have 3 objects. So we'd write 0. And then we'd ask ourselves, okay, so out of 37 objects, how many groups of 5 can I get? And if we counted by 5s and went 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, we can see that we would get 7. So once again, there's another mistake here that 6 should be a 7. Then the next step after we divide is to multiply. So I'm going to take my 7 times my 5, and when I take 7 times 5, I get 35. After multiplying, the step is to subtract. So I take 7 minus 5 and get 2. 3 minus 3 is 0. Then I check, is 2 less than 5? And we can see, yes, it is. Then my next step is to take this 2 is to bring down. And there's nothing else to bring down. So now my 2 is my remainder. Normally, we would write the letter R and the number 2. But with this lesson, we're starting to write this remainder as a fraction. So we're going to take this 2 and write it as a fraction. The 2, the remainder, is going to be my numerator, or my top number of my fraction. My denominator, or bottom number of my fraction, is going to be this divisor. The number that we were dividing by out here is 5. So we would write my remainder 2 as 2/5. 2 is the remainder, the numerator, top number of the fraction, and we get the bottom number of the fraction, 5, from out here. Now, in other problems, if I'm dividing by 3, the bottom number would be 3. If I divided by 15, the bottom number would be 15. So when we're writing a remainder as a fraction, it's our divisor, or the number out here that we're dividing by, that goes on the bottom, and whatever our remainder was goes on the top as the numerator. So let's work this first problem here in your book. 13 divided by 2. So we're going to start off by asking ourselves, actually, I'm going to start off by writing the steps of division. So we've got divide, multiply, subtract, check, and bring down, just to help us review that. So to start off with, I need to divide. So I ask myself, with this 1, how many groups of 2 can I make with 1? Obviously, I can make 0 groups of 2, so I'm going to write a 0 up here. Then I could take 0 times 2 and get 0, and 1 minus 0 to get 1. Or I can just uncover the 3 and keep going, which is what I'm going to do in this case. We talked about that earlier. So if I've got 13 objects, how many groups of 2 do I have? Well, I need to count by 2. So I go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 is too many, so I need to go with, that's right, 6. So I'm going to write my 6 here. Now that I've divided, now I need to multiply. So I'm going to take 6 times 2 and get, that's right, 12. Then I need to subtract. That's my third step. So 13 minus 12 equals, that's right, 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and check. Is 1 less than 2? It sure is. Bring down. Do I have anything else to bring down to keep dividing? No. So now I need to write my remainder. Instead of writing the letter R with my 1, I'm going to take this 1 and write it as a fraction. So my 1 becomes the top number of my fraction, and the 2 from out here, my divisor, becomes my bottom number. So 13 divided by 2 equals 6, remainder 1, or 6 1/2. Let's look at another one. 15 divided by 4. Starting off once again with my 1, can I get any groups of 4 out of this 1? No, I cannot. So I write my 0 up here. Then I uncover my 5 and keep going. How many groups of 4 can I get out of 15? Well, let's count by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16 is too many. So I need to go with, that's right, 3. So I'm going to write my 3 up here. Next step is to multiply. 3 times 4 is, that's right, 12. Now I need to subtract. 15 minus 12 equals, that's right, 3. Then I check, is 3 less than 4? It sure is. And remember, this check step is very important because if I got, like, say, the number 6, that means I did something very, very wrong up here, and I need to go back and fix something. Then finally, bring down. And in this case, do I have anything to bring down? Nope. So my remainder is 3, and we're going to write that as a fraction. So my 3 goes on the top of my fraction, and what number goes down here as the denominator or bottom number of my fraction? That's right, the divisor out here, number 4. So I've got 3 and 3/4. There are 3 more problems on your paper to work on. Then there are a couple of story problems a little bit further down. And then you've also got some adding and some subtracting and multiplying. I wanted to point out with these ones down here, when you are working with your fraction, you can add your regular numbers and you add your fractions or subtract the fractions. When I add my fractions, does my denominator change? No, it does not. When I subtract my fractions, does my denominator change? No, it does not. So make sure that you're working carefully on those problems. Hopefully this will help you as you go to do your math today and tomorrow.